I have a medium-sized Deodar Cedar located in Los Gatos over on Buena Vista, and it has an unusual problem up in the upper portion of the tree. It either was topped at one time or the top bent over and broke and cracked, but it's developed two new secondary tops and one very large limb, and the weakness associated with this area up here is quite significant. I'm also noticing there is some swelling down in the lower trunk, and there's a problem that I've been recognizing lately, and we in the industry have been recognizing, that there is a trunk canker disease that is attacking the deodar cedars. And the symptoms are generally showing a swelling in certain portions of the trunk, and then you'll have a secondary problem of some pitch that starts weeping out of some of the cracks. And there's not a lot of weeping in this tree yet, but I suspect that you have there's some right in through here. I suspect that you do have some trunk canker disease in this tree. And the reason I'm telling you that is, as beautiful as this tree looks, there are some hidden problems that a lot of people don't see until it's too late. So there's a serious weakness at the top, a likelihood of some canker disease in the trunk, and so the lifespan of this tree is at question. So I'm doing a climbing inspection of this tree to better understand what's going on in the upper canopy. You know, it's interesting, a tree like this, you never really know what you're going to see until you get up there. And interesting, I found this first area right here. A long time ago, somebody cut this off really close, and they were kind of wild with the chainsaw. And they actually slipped with the chainsaw and made a big wound right here, which is a weakness. It's kind of interesting. Now, it's not a significant branch, but there was a careless climber at one time. So what I'm looking for right now are weaknesses in the tree that make me believe that this tree's lifespan may be shortened, or if there's any internal canker problems. This is the pitch that we're going to find oozing out of the trunk if it has more of a problem. This is a wound that's not too old, and some of the pitch may be dripping from here that I'm seeing on here, but so far my biggest number one concern are these structures up here. So let's go up a little bit higher and take a look at it. Okay, I'm up at the top of the tree and I'm underneath this formation, which is very unusual. It appears that at one time the top broke and it bent over, and a new set of two tops developed from it, as well as this very large limb right here. And as you can see up underneath here, it's a little dark, but the tree is actually folded over on itself. So I see this whole area up here as a weakness. Now, how weak is a difficult one to say. If this was out in the woods, I wouldn't worry about it, but because it's in someone's property, that's a whole nother issue. So let's go up a little bit higher and see what we've got. Okay, I'm up at the site of the damage, and to me it appears that the top of this tree broke out rather than being topped. And what was left, it's hard to get back far enough to even see this, bent over, and then two new tops developed up on top of this. So while the top of the tree should be going over here, now it curves, goes on itself, and then goes back up to the top. So there's a bit of a crack developing in here, and there's a real significant fold on itself that goes up and over, and it's really interesting. I'm amazed that it's holding itself, but because there's an area of weakness over here that goes in quite a bit, there is some decay in over here. And there's also further evidence of, you look down over here, you can see where at one point in time the top of this tree was open, and this is very likely from sun scald, and there's some decay and probably some insect activity in there all the way down. So this is becoming a weak limb, and you can see the scarring tissue in here. So this has grown up and around an old wound in there, but there is a weakness in here. It's not very big yet, but when I find things like that, I can see the same thing in here, that you can see the old scar tissue. There's some right where I'm sitting right here. So at one point in time, there was an awful lot of sun just baking down on the whole top part of the tree. Now when I look up in this upper set of tops, we've got two tops up here. There is some oozing right here. I don't know what that's from. The color of the foliage looks pretty good, so I'm not too worried about that. Oh, there's a split that could be cleaned up and taken care of. I think there's enough problems with this tree that the longevity of it is in question. So what do? Do you retop the tree back down in here? That would certainly make this much safer. I'd have to get some weight off of this as well, but it would certainly disfigure the tree. Do you take out one of the two tops? Well, each of these tops is now one-sided, so if I took off one or the other, then the top of the tree would be bare on one side. Had it been done a long time ago, then there would be more balance, but now you're developing double the weight up here on this weakness. So you've also got some potential for a split up in here in this Y. Tough call. Tough call. Sometimes the more you look, the more you find. And if I hadn't looked in the first place, I would have thought the tree would be okay.